You already know the beast in McLaren, so it makes sense. I'm going to touch on strongholds and how you open up doors to these strongholds. See, a stronghold is how a demon stays. It's like the house. It's like if you have met the condition for an infestation. That's like if you have, say, a dirty kitchen floor and you continuously leave food on the floor. Guess what? You're opening the door for roaches, for any type of rodent, whatever, to come through. And then once they start eating on that food, they start to build a habitat around it. They start to build a household around it. It ain't no different than the lion when he goes out with his pride. And then when they start hunting grounds, see where the food is, they start to build a house around the food. And people got to understand this is what you eat of. If you eat of negativity, if you eat of fornication, if you eat of perversion, if you eat of man tradition, sowing yourself into idols, sowing your seed in bad soil, evil communication, corrupt good manners. So if you're continuously hanging around the ungodly, if you're continuously hanging around groups of people that are not obeying the law, statute, commandments of the Lord, that are conforming to the world and the things in it, guess what? You are going to open up demonic strongholds. And sometimes you're not just opening up just demonic strongholds, but you're opening up doorways. See, you might open yourself up, okay, for the demon to go ahead and reside in you. Because that's building, that's the conditions met. Now, say you continue to hang around the ungodly, your evil communication, you're, watching them engage in certain things, and then you're not warning the wicked. Okay, now you're building that stronghold because remember, evil communication. Now say you start engaging in those acts. You start going along with what they do. Now what you're doing is defiling yourself. You're making yourself unclean and you're opening up a doorway. So remember, opening up a doorway, you're giving the demon permission. You gotta understand something. By you engaging in fornication, you're giving that demon authority over you because you're engaging in that fornication. So guess what? They're like, okay, this person wants to play. They down for the get down. And then the stronghold is what they build around that. So now they make you have soul ties with certain people. So now you're unable to separate from a group of people or separate from corn online, from watching that, from, letting your eyes see wicked things. You're continuously engaging in it. So guess what now? Now you have given them a home. See, and when you open that door, it's based on the action. So, like I was saying, if you engage in fornication, that's one thing. But say you start using drugs and this and the third. Now you open up a doorway to addiction. And now they're going to build a home around that addiction. Now they're going to continuously put the thoughts in your mind. They're going to say you can't live without the addiction. You can't, breathe. It's everything to you. And remember, the door is rooted in the sins of others as well. Remember, that's why soul ties can create a continuous doorway. I always say it's real estate out here. It's real estate. They're looking for houses to reside in. They're looking for renovated houses. I like to, go in a little detail because remember, when I say renovated, you're not destroying the stronghold. It's just like in the Bible when it said when a wicked spirit found out the house been clean and swept. Remember, it's still a house. That's why he was able to leave and try to find rest in dry places, but was unable to. But he brought 7 more spirits, more wicked than himself, to come back because there was still a place to come back to. There was still a stronghold to come back to. And the only way for you to stop this is to close these doors by having conviction, by obeying the law, statute, commandments, by separating yourself. Don't go the way of the wicked. Don't sit in the seat of the scornful. You got to separate yourself from these individuals. See, at the end of the day, let the dead bury the dead. If they want to remain asleep, remember, because when you're awoken, you're going to despise the things of this world. But when you're asleep, you're in the midst of it. It's just like being in the matrix. You're still plugged in. And anybody still plugged into the system can be used against you. That's why a man enemies be in his own household. You have to remove them through being renewed of the mind. Remember, it starts here, because once you open up that doorway and that portal, guess what? The food that you're eating is starting to get stuck. And that's why every time you think about something, boom, it starts here. That's why every time you want to hang out with somebody, you're giving over to the fleshly needs and what you believe is required of you to get through the day. Let's start sowing into good. Let's start reading the Bible, meditating on the word, reading the Bible precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. Let's separate ourselves from the people who are ungodly. Remember, if you walk with the wise, you become wise, but a companion of fools will be destroyed. So if you're able to separate yourself, you'll start to close these doors, destroy these strongholds. It'll be like a wrecking ball. Boom, just knocking these doors down, knocking these houses down, so they won't have a place to come back to. Let's have them leave and not come back by putting on the full armor of the Most High. Have the helmet of salvation. Remember, you have to be spiritually strong. Remember, he must increase and I must decrease. Remember, you have to decrease. The flesh wages against the spirit. And that's what the enemy wants to do. He wants to make you depend on the flesh and not on the spiritual. He wants you to feel alone. He wants you to feel sad. He wants you to be conformed to the world. And I don't got no friends. I don't got nobody around me. Remember, you got to enter in at the straight gate. And many shall want to enter the end and will not be able to, because this is not an easy road. But he will make you refine as gold, because mind you were strong enough to go through it. Everybody else is not strong enough to go through this spiritual warfare. He did this. He knew you before you were born. He the one that put you together. He built you for this. It's like a car is built to be driven. So if he made you a vehicle to push his word, to push his law, statutes, and commandments, to warn the wicked, that's what you're made for. Don't let the enemy confuse you. He is not a God of confusion, and the Lord does not tempt, because the tempter will come, but resist the devil and he'll flee from you.